Today we are interviewing Matt Iseman, host of American Ninja Warrior and family member on Hallmark Home and Family.
I'm Matthew Royer.
I'm Benjamin Royer,
and this is Twinger Talk.
Let's get to the questions.
Okay.
Do you feel that being a doctor and a celebrity helps people relate to you and coming into the face of RA?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I think I definitely think having an MD gives me a little credibility when I talk about sort of the treatments, but definitely, obviously, being someone with RA who's higher profile, it's been great for me to share my story, and that was what was cool about Celebrity Apprentice, was going on there and competing for the Arthritis Foundation and telling people, because again, I think most people would look at me and not know I have a chronic illness and that I have RA, and for me, it's important to share my story, because I know when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anyone who had RA, and so you kind of feel you feel alone in this diagnosis, and you also tend to see worst case scenarios. So for me, it was really important to be someone who's out here, who's being active, who's hosting Ninja, who's being on Celebrity Apprentice, and to share my story so people who are diagnosed know, A, you're not alone, and B, you can lead a full life. You can be a huge star in Hollywood, right? Like us, living the life out here. So I think the other thing is also really being open about it. I think people just want to hear stories. I look at, essentially what we do is share stories. And whether it's American Ninja Warrior or Apprentice or being on a sitcom or Home and Family, we're all trying to share a relatable story. And I think for me, kind of sharing what I've gone through with RA, even people who don't have RA may relate to having health struggles. And kind of, I look at Ninja Warrior, and I think one of the great things about the show is when you realize people often cheer for somebody not because the obstacles they overcome on the course, it's the ones they overcome off the course. And that's me.
Yes. You won Celebrity Apprentice.
Number one.
What was that whole experience like?
It was amazing. We're obviously huge reality TV fans, and I've been in reality TV for over a decade, but to compete on a show is a completely different experience. And it gave me such respect for the competitors on American Ninja Warrior, because watching a show, hosting a show, we don't risk anything. We love Big Brother. And there's something about sitting in your bedroom, watching the live feeds or watching a live eviction and being like, oh, this is so good as you're yelling, because we're not in it. And so to go on Celebrity Apprentice and to feel like you're on camera for 14 hours a day and to know they're looking for you to screw up, that's such a different experience.
You raised $573,329.
Matt, you are the new Celebrity Apprentice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel like I'm Conan the Barbarian on the Wheel of Doom.
This is how I get huge.
I think for me, it was fun to feel like I was competing again and to feel really challenged again, and like you have something that you're risking. That was fun. So I really enjoyed it. And meeting the celebrities was awesome. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I grew up with like his poster. He's like a modern day Zac Efron, or he's an old time Zac Efron. I'm kidding. So, for me to meet the celebrities was awesome.
You're a 10-year cancer survivor.
Yeah.
What was your diagnosis and treatment like?
So that was one of the most random things for me, was honestly, so I was having pain in my side, and because of my rheumatoid arthritis, I'm a little more susceptible to infections. So because of that, and because of my MD, I thought, you know what? I could have an infection, then I should get checked out. So I went and got a chest x-ray, and they're like, it's fine, but the doctor was really thorough, and he found out I'd flown recently, which makes you susceptible to getting clots in your lung. And he thought, I want to rule this out. So I'm going to force you to go get a CAT scan. And, I'm sitting here as the doctor going, I think this is a little overkill, but all right. And so I go get the CAT scan, and they at the ER, and they sent me home. They said, you're fine. And then the next morning, a radiologist was rereading the CAT scan of my chest, and he's like, your chest is fine. But he calls me and he said, there's a tumor on your kidney, and there's an 80% chance it's malignant. You have to get it checked out as soon as possible. And so to hear that was on a Saturday morning, and it was hard for, I don't think I really processed it and thought there's a chance I have cancer. And so I go see the doctor. I end up getting surgery, and they didn't know the tumor was malignant until they took it out of me and analyzed it. So the doctor comes in 5 days after my surgery, and he's like, it was malignant, you had cancer, but we got it out, and there's a 98% chance you're cured. So I was told I had cancer, and that I was cured most likely in the same breath. So it was kind of a surreal. It took a month though from the time that they found it until I had it out. And that's still a time where I look at, that was a surreal time in my life where I kind of felt like I was almost watching myself go through it than I was living it, because it's hard to think about having cancer. And I'm glad I don't.
You have a ton of hosting jobs under your belt. To name a few: Screenplay on E,
Yep.
Casino Night on Game Show Network, 5 years as the go-to guy on Clean House.
One of my favorites.
You received an Emmy Award for 5 messiest homes in the country on Style
I should bring
Network.
that out, right? I should go get the Emmy.
Currently, you're a family member on Hallmark's Home and Family.
Where we met?
Yes. And you're the host of American Ninja Warrior. Tell us about your roles on those shows and your experiences.
So the first one, sorry, I spit on you. So the first one was Screenplay. That was the one I got when I didn't make it into the Groundlings, and that was like, you guys remember Fear Factor? Did you ever see? So it was kind of a Fear Factor knockoff on E, and it was a show that I thought was going to be huge, and it tanked. It only lasted a season, but that show was on E, and that one helped me get sports. You remember The Soup with Joel McHale? Mm-hmm. I did the sports version, Sports Soup, that I got because of Clean House.
I don't look a little intimidating?
You're killing me.
What? Thanks, buddy. I feel better now.
Oh my God. I'll tell you what, LeBron's going to be jealous. He knows you're already cheating on him as his teammate. Couldn't play NBA basketball.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd get a desk job or just play for the Clippers?
I'll play for the Clippers.
Hey, Michael, can we get you and your mom for sports soup?
Can we get you for sports soup? Hey, Michael, ignore me if you love sports soup. He loves it. And the Sports Soup led me to American Ninja Warrior. So my very first hosting gig back in 2004 led to the job that I have now. And I think it's been one of those amazing lessons where you learn A, be nice, and B, I say yes to everything, because you never know what it's going to lead to. And it's been amazing for me, I think, as a host to have some different shows, like obviously Screenplay, your traditional game show host. Clean House, I was the go-to guy where I'm a handyman, and you're talking to people and trying to figure out why they have all this clutter, and then having a good time with the yard sale. Sports Soup was a little more of a comedy show where you're reading off a prompter, but you're having athletes. I got to meet Shaquille O'Neal, Mike Tyson, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Ninja, where it's a little bit more of, you're kind of the game show host, kind of reality show, kind of sports. I mean, it's really become
kind of the commentator. Like you're the voice of the show.
I'm the voice of Ninja Warrior. And what's cool is, because we kind of invented this show, or the Japanese invented it, but here in America, for most people, I'm like, I am I'm the voice of it, which is awesome. I mean, until they fire me, which, could always happen, which is great in this business to feel, you're always reminded, enjoy what you have and work hard to appreciate it.
We had a little friendly baseball competition with you and Matt Rogers 2 years ago on Hallmark Home and Family. Let's take a look at that.
Bring in the mats. Okay.
Right this way,
These
Mr.
are-
Iseman.
Okay.
I brought my Princeton pitcher with me. You feeling good?
Yeah.
Getting loose, buddy. Getting loose.
Hope you boys are ready,
Come on
okay?
down.
Here we compete for real.
Hey,
You guys
guys,
nervous?
these are kids.
Okay.
Stop.
They're, yeah.
They were talking trash earlier.
They were.
I don't best with these two. They're good.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to each get a chance to throw 3 baseballs, all right?
Okay.
We have lined up down here, as you can see at the end here, chairs that have soda cans on those. Your job is to knock, in 3 pitches, all those off. You can knock them all off in 1 pitch, that's great. Okay, we're going to alternate. We're going to start on the far side with Matt. You're up first, right?
I'm up.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little high. Okay.
It's intimidating. I like
Yeah. Oh, he's throwing it high. Oh,
Things were moving. They were moving.
All right, Matt Iseman's up now. Matt played. He was a pitcher at Princeton.
Stop. You're putting the pressure on me now.
So
Stop.
he was actually, back then, he was really good.
Look at Mr. Baseball.
There's your trophy. And by the way, we know you're Dodger fans. There's a hat. Go Dodgers.
You knew they were going to win, didn't you?
I played baseball in college. Why did we have to show that? That was embarrassing. I whiffed.
Speaking of baseball, you played baseball all 4 years at Princeton as a pitcher. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that being a former athlete gives you a different perspective as host of American Ninja Warrior?
Yeah, I definitely think having played a sport helps me appreciate what the athletes go through and the sacrifices you need to make to do well. And I think it's playing a sport really helped me. I think in Hollywood, there's so many good lessons you learn from playing sports in terms of being a part of a team, losing well, winning well, and how to work hard and how to get better. That I think apply to anything you do, but particularly in Hollywood, where there are some people out here who I'm sure you guys have had experiences where there are some people who aren't team players. And I think you see, the longer you stay out here, the more you see, I think that people value people who can be teammates.
Mm-hmm. I know we haven't mentioned it yet, but did you know you're the host of American Ninja Warrior?
Am I really? I love that guy. It's me.
What is it like being the host of American Ninja Warrior?
It's been amazing for me to start out on a show that was on G4, a network that no longer exists and has become one of the bigger shows of the summer, and has become something that we have a spin-off show. We're going to be doing a live tour, and that has become a part of kind of the athletic and cultural fabric of the country. It's been so cool feeling a part of it. And for me, what's been awesome too is seeing the growth of the athletes and to see the impact it's had on so many people who, whether they've competed or not, have gotten more active or who've drawn inspiration from some of our athletes. And what's really cool about it, I think, is it's the only show I can think of where there's not a winner most of the time. We've only had technically one winner in Isaac Caldero, but only 2 people who've completed our course out of, we've had probably 4,000 people, 4,000 runs, and technically 2 people have completed Mount Midoriyama, all 4 stages. And to look at a show like this, where in America we're used to one person wins, and we want resolution, and instead to have something where it's almost with American Ninja Warrior, for so many of these people, coming on the show is the victory. Getting on the course can be the victory. And I think it's been cool for me to see that and to see how important it is for so many people, for them just to have challenged themselves to get in shape and to try to inspire others. Someday I'll do it, but not today.
Over the years, have you got to interact with the ninjas, and do you have any favorites over the years?
No favorites. They're all my children, I say. It's what's really cool is starting out. We would do a boot camp, and it was kind of inspired because one of our executive producers, Holly Wofford, had come from Survivor. And so initially we envisioned this boot camp as being sort of a cutthroat competition where we took 15 ninjas and whittled it down to 10 who would go to Japan. And we had it all pitted out where it would be head to head and 3 teams, and they would go and have to, I challenge you to a climb off. And we thought it was going to be cutthroat. And at the end of the first day, we saw the camaraderie that existed from the ninjas, and we realized we had this all wrong, and that the ninjas have kind of taught us that's why this sport is, I think, so different than most of the reality shows What was the question? I just went off on a total tangent there with boot camp.
Did you interact with the ninjas?
Oh.
or-
So boot camp, what was great? I know, I get so into it. Boot camp, what was cool was we'd be out there for 5 days with these ninjas, and so I got to know them well. And then we'd take 10 and go to Japan and spend 3 or 4 days in Japan. And so there were some of the early ninjas, guys like Brent Stephenson and Evan the Rocket Dollard and David Campbell, who I really got to spend a lot of time with early on. A lot of times now we're stuck in the host tower, so I don't always get to interact with the ninjas, but every ninja who comes on, I've watched their video, I've read about them and researched them, and you always try to meet them and get to know them. And it's great going to Vegas because we'll usually get some time. And then the spin-off show, Team Ninja Warrior, we get to hang out a lot. And so for me, it's been cool. It's cool getting to know them and to kind of thank them because it's their passion that gives me a job.
You have a nice relationship with Akbar.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So what's cool is he's the third co-host I've had. It started out with Jimmy Smith, who does Bellator, which is like an MMA sport, and Johnny Mosley, who was the Olympic gold medalist, and now Akbar, who played in the NFL. And for me, it's, they've always had someone who's the athlete. I'm like, being a baseball player at Princeton doesn't make me the athlete, but it's really been fun. It's cool when you talk to people who've done it at the highest level. And to have someone who's as energetic and enthusiastic as I am, it's a lot of fun because, we'll shoot for 12 hours, 10, 12 hours at a night. And in Vegas, we'll do 5 or 6 nights in a row. And so to have someone up there when it's 4 a.m. on the 4th night being like, you got this, let's go. We're just going to make stuff up. And, we'll call 80 runs in a night. And so you're saying the same thing for 10 that might make it on TV. And so to sometimes get creative or to figure out how you're going to say things, that's why sometimes we say things when you watch it on TV where you're like, that didn't really make sense. You're like, well, it's 4 a.m. Give us a break.
So you're a big fan of Big Brother, like
Yes.
us. Would you ever play Big Brother?
So Celebrity Big Brother's coming out. And I was at the Big Brother eviction just before Julie Chen announced it. And as soon as the Hollywood Reporter had interviewed me, unbeknownst to me, they knew Celebrity Big Brother was coming out. And so they positioned me as someone who could be on there because I'm a live feeder. I love the show. And being a Celebrity Apprentice champion, they know I go to win.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't know if I could do Big Brother. A, I'm not sure NBC would let me, but B, I watch that show and the psychological games that go on there. I love to watch them, but I'm not sure I could play them. That was one of the cool things about Apprentice was for the most part, we were focused on tasks rather than backstabbing. Mm-hmm. And so every week they would ask me, what's your strategy? And my strategy was survive a week. And I think on Big Brother, we saw not only do you have to be looking at that week and next week, you have to be looking at the end game, and you have to be thinking about how I'm not only going to get rid of these people, how I'm going to get them to love me. And as we saw, if you don't have a strategy, not only to get to the final 2, but to win everyone's hearts and minds, then you end up like Paul.
Thanks for doing an interview with us, Matt.
Twingers, it was my pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm Benjamin Royer.
I'm Matthew Royer.
And this has been
Twinger Talk.